Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities, ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where we go over individual companies. Sometimes we have training sessions if you'd like to join those. We have a Discord channel, and you can see what I'm buying for this commodity bull market. So let's dive in here. Let's see what's going on, and I'll give you my financial opinion on what I see in the markets today. So starting with the DXY, we're again sideways with the dollar, but I can see yields dropped a little bit across the board here. So sideways with the dollar, this still is above support. This white support line goes across a very long time frame going across. We're on strong support. Looks very much like the price of an oil chart for the dollar. The dollar is more or less just an extension of yields, and the tightness of one's monetary policies versus another currency's monetary policy. But the dollar still looks good to go potentially higher in the short term because we don't have a ton of selling pressure here. There's just nothing there that convinces me that we are going to blow to the downside. Now, looking at yields, the 2 year dropped quite a bit here, surprisingly. So we were coming up 1, 2, 3, 4 trading days just moving sideways. We got kind of a blowout today. Pretty strong down move, finishing quite strong. So are we going to continue lower here to the downside? It kind of looks like that is possible. And that is the short end of the curve coming back down. That is the 2 year follows what the Federal Reserve is basically doing. It front runs the Fed funds rate. The 2 year yield does. So if it comes on down, that would definitely be the short end of the curve coming down, and we'll see how fast it comes down. TNX, the 30-year yield, also selling off today, down 1.31%. We're still above this downtrend line that is broken, and a lot of times you get a return move, and then we might go higher. We'll see what that looks like with time. But we've got a broken downtrend line, and we're pulling back a little bit. Same with the 30-year. Broken downtrend line. We're coming on. It looks like we were kind of squeezing up to some extent there on both the 10-year and the 30-year. Looking at TYX TNX ratio, that is shooting higher. What that means is that the shorter end of the curve is coming down faster than the long end of the curve. That is generally a good signal. If this comes higher, that's a good tailwind behind gold. And it may help some other precious metals as well. So we're at a very low level. We are starting to come on up a little bit here, which I think could support gold and other precious metals. Gold did fantastic things from 2018 up to August of 2020. And it looks like we might repeat that and come on up. TLT, which is bond prices, the 20-year bond price up a little bit today with yields going down. Bond prices are up and we are above support. We've got the 2 and 10s here. This is coming and uninverting. So the 10-year yield or the 2 year yield is going down faster than the 10-year yield. And the yield curve is uninverting here. And we'll see if we get to any critical levels over the next few months. So gold is up only $4, pretty weak. We've got this trend line I threw in there, and it's broken to the downside of the trend line, it's basically the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield broke its downtrend line, the downtrend line to the upside. If yields go up, gold will go down most likely. And that's kind of what's setting up here is the inverse of the 10-year yield. You can even see got a little bit of a squeeze there going on. Silver down a little bit, 0.72%, still below that big long-term trend line. And we do have a support line that comes running through here that we're sitting on. We've got platinum down 0.52%. It's just coming on down here, and we'll probably get support at probably at a lower level. Hopefully we can keep going down, get into the 800s even. That would be a really good buy point. I'll take it if it gets down there. And then palladium just moving sideways. It looks like it's trying to bottom out. It's on this support line of this longer trend line there, the support line that we're on. So this looks good to go higher though. Nice big buying pressure move there, big bullish engulfing, small pullback. I bet you we'll eventually work our way on higher in palladium. XAU to gold ratio, we're down again a little bit. We are coming back. This is surprising, we've got a nice good bullish engulfing there. And it's almost like a return move. So I think that this could turn around here at some point if yields continue to fall. I think it will be a tailwind behind gold. Um, but gold in the short term doesn't look all that great, and the 10-year yield's broken to the upside. So we've got like a bear steepener going on. It's a very weird thing going on, probably because we've got synthetic inflation in the system, and the market is actually healthy to some extent in certain sectors, like the housing market. We've got a weird setup here. CRB index up 0.68%. We are underneath this resistance line. We kind of hit our head on it. It's just been consolidating sideways for the CRB index, heavily weighted by oil. Is this going to fall back down, or are we going to move on up? I think a closer look at oil may determine which direction that may potentially go in. CRB to S&P 500, we are up today, and we're at the bottom end of this channel that I've created, the flag pattern, and generally flag patterns work their way on higher. So we'll see how this plays out and resides. You can obviously see I've got this overlaid on it of what happened last bull market, and it's almost the same type of setup. If I pull this up, it's 1, 2, 3, and that's the 3 humps here. Sorry, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, and then the third one is this drawn out one. It's very similar to previous bull markets. GDX, we're on support, slightly lower, but we're still hanging on with the wick at the bottom. GDXJ is the same thing, and same with SILJ. They're all the same. We're all on support for the most part. And we're just waiting for the right market conditions for these to activate, so to speak. The tough part is knowing what market conditions are exactly coming. We've got a massive inversion of the yield curve. We had big moves on the short end of the short end for yields, like the 2 years and whatever, just rocketing higher from synthetic inflation. Almost always, the inverted yield curve would always show up towards the end of a business cycle or real estate cycle, and most of the times it ends in recession. But what if you create stimulus at the beginning of an expansionary phase of real estate, and then you cut the stimulus? Will you still get a recession or a steep sell-off? I don't know. And that's where the tough part is. So silver and gold generally do well when inflation comes back into the system and when things slow down towards the end of it. So it's that combo. It's when it slows down and they're about to do less tightening. They're going to loosen credit and whatnot. And that's where it's difficult because they tighten credit to slow down inflation, but we're at the beginning of an expansion phase of real estate. And the expansion phase of real estate did not pace the interest rates moving higher. Therefore, rates could be too high for loaning, but rates might not also kick off a crash or like these slowdowns because the economy isn't sick from the real estate market, is what I'll say. Crude oil up 1.7%. We were killing it earlier in the day. Kind of slowed off towards the end of the day. You can see the sell-off there. Then we came back up a little bit more. But to me, this looks like we're trying to bottom and we're ready to go higher. I know people are talking about a glut. I know they're talking about all these certain things. I can even move this here and kind of move this over here. And I'll put it like that. And that could be a shoulder, head, shoulder that is starting to develop where we've come on down and you get kind of like almost a bottoming pattern if we can break to the upside. I think we're probably going to break here at some point. But what I have seen over the past few trading sessions, the thing that's kind of weird here is we kind of work our way on up, and then somebody just rips it. Work our way on up, rips it. Work our way on up. It's like we are just getting hit and hit and hit in very short bursts of selling pressure, is what I've noticed. But we're up against this resistance line, which is the neckline, and this could be an inverted head and shoulders that we could potentially break. TTF, natural gas, again, the momentum's to the downside. I'd like to see some buying pressure show up. Give me the green army, guys. Give me the green army. Natural gas up 2.34%. This is holding on quite well, above support. A big picture view. This was the last bull market overlaid on it. Maybe we go on up for a period of time. I don't know if it's going to be the same extent, to the same extent as this, but we are going up. XOP, yeah, you know me, holding on for dear life here, down 0.08%. There's a lot of negativity in oil and oil services right now. We've seen oil hold steady, but XOP and OIH sell off here the past week or so. I think this is hopefully an end of trend type deal. We've got a broken down trend line, and then we've sold off all the way almost back to the starting point, and sometimes that is what occurs. Big picture view, though, I think we are bullish. This is a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder that is developed in all of these different individual companies that I watch, a bunch of different energy service companies and oil and exploration, oil, nat gas exploration production companies. If we can break this neckline, guys, we are going to do wonderful things. I think Warren Buffett probably already sees it too. That's why he owns a big chunk of Oxy, and he did very well last commodity bull market. I was watching him. OIH, the energy service company, is up 0.47%. And we'll see if we can try to turn here on support, get this thing to slow down and start to turn. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, it's not messing around here, guys. We got a nice big 3.83%. Uranium's on fire and fuego. Boom shakalaka is what I'll say. Looks like we're ready to go higher, guys. This is on fire. Fire. There we go. URA also moving on higher, 2.08%, and we got our sights on what could be a 52-week high here, up above, I'd say about $30-ish or so. If it can close above 30, that's definitely a 52-week high. It looks fantastic. URNM also looking great. Nice candlestick today. We came back, did a little bit of a retest. You can see the wick on the bottom there. Touched it and said, nope, it's time to go. And it lifted off. We are at all-time highs for URNM. Good job. We've got a nice strong closing. Let's hope the momentum can continue to the upside. URNJ also following suit, not up as much as URNM, but up quite a bit, 1.4. We are also closing almost at all-time highs here for URNJ. And hopefully the momentum can continue in both of those. TAN down a little bit, right on support. Big long-term support line that we got going across. COPX still looks good to go higher. We've got these small little, down candlesticks. It's basically a falling wedge to some degree. And I'm looking for a move higher in the COPX ETF. It looks really good. Getting lit over here in lithium. We're moving sideways. It's trying to put in a big base. Still basing out, and REMX is doing the same thing. It's still basing out. We're right on support. Let's see if that holds. SPX down a little bit. We're up against that resistance level up there. We're starting to play with all-time highs, and we're getting some resistance. This is, this thing better get moving, better break through here. Otherwise, we could get rejected and do a double top. Interested to see what exactly occurs here. NASDAQ also just moving sideways, much like the S&P 500 today. And that's not at all-time highs yet. KRE down a little bit, but we are still in these small little selling pressure candlesticks. Still looks good to go higher. Going to go up. We're just doing a little retest here. This is your double bottom. You've got that, I don't know, it's not a neckline, but double bottom line. You punch through, you do a retest, and then you generally break to the upside. And it's a flag pattern. So it looks fantastic to move higher. Emerging markets looks good. It's holding on support. What it needs is a weaker dollar. And the dollar's been holding on. It's been holding on. XHB moving on up. I got some information on from KB Homes. We're going higher, guys. They're going to sell a bunch of new homes. If interest rates come back down or they stay a little bit lower, the 10-year that is, and mortgage rates stay down, they're going to sell a whole bunch of homes. It's going to be inflationary. This is gonna rock it up. Moo heading a little bit lower today, down 0.63%. It still looks all right. It's not a ton of selling pressure over here. The small red candlesticks, and we've got some support right where we're at. The support that I'm talking about is that right there. We're sitting right on top of it. So we'll see if that holds. I'll leave that in there. Looking at copper, copper still looks a little bit weak. Momentum's to the downside. Not a very convincing bounce here. I think we could go lower in the short term. Iron ore moving a little bit lower today, but it looks like it's trying to put in some sort of bottom here. Momentum is still to the downside. It hasn't turned yet, but it's trying. We'll see what occurs. Aluminum moving sideways inside of its support resistance line. I'll extend these way out. I don't have to draw them again, but that's what I'm seeing there, just bouncing back and forth. We've got Baltic Dry Index with a strong selling pressure move there. We're back to the support level where the magnet line is since late 1970s or early 80s? Or it's 80s, 88, since 88. Newcastle coal down, what, 4%. But again, I still like where it's at. We're sitting on top of support. It is still basing out, and it may take some time, 6 months to do that. Bitcoin up a little bit. It's up 1% with the big wick at the top. Kind of an ugly looking day from a momentum perspective, but it's still above and working its way up with momentum coming on up. And then Ethereum, a little selling pressure day to day. Sometimes I call those bloody noses where they're continuation patterns to the upside. So Bitcoin and Ethereum still look good, in my opinion. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you guys haven't already. We've got a Sunday question and answer session coming up at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can ask me whatever you like if you're a part of the community. So for the most part, I'm hoping, oil here can break. That's what I want. And we can put in a bottom and get these energy service and oil companies moving on up. Uranium's looking fantastic, as always. And most everything else, it's not too bad. It's putting in the work, putting the retest in or bouncing around. But for the most part, everything still looks pretty good. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.